Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mystery English Lessons. Today's story is longer than usual. It is full of twists, secrets, and one question that took 30 years to answer. This story will also teach you many useful English words. Listen carefully and enjoy the mystery. Let's begin! On a small island off the coast of Maine, there stood an old lighthouse called Raven Point. For many years, one man lived there alone. His name was Samuel Cole, and he was the lighthouse keeper. Samuel was known as a quiet man. He rarely spoke to anyone. Every evening, he lit the lighthouse lamp, and every morning he checked the weather. The townspeople respected him. They often said, "Samuel protects our ships. Without him, many sailors would be lost at sea." But one winter, everything changed. A terrible storm hit the island. The wind was fierce, the waves were enormous, and ships could no longer reach the shore safely. That night, the lighthouse went dark. The next morning, a fishing boat noticed something strange. The lighthouse lamp was not working. That had never happened before. The town immediately sent 2 men to check on Samuel. When they arrived, they found the lighthouse door wide open. Wind and rain had entered the building. They called Samuel's name, but no one answered. They searched every room. His bed was neatly made. His coat was still hanging by the door. His boots were still inside. But Samuel Cole was gone. There were no footprints, no signs of a struggle. It was as if he had simply vanished into the storm. New word, vanished, disappeared suddenly and completely. The town sheriff, Deputy Harris, took charge of the investigation. He asked the townspeople, did Samuel have any enemies? Did he owe anyone money? Did he seem afraid recently? Everyone gave the same answer. Samuel kept to himself. He never caused trouble. But then one fisherman mentioned something unusual. A few nights before the storm, he had seen a small boat near the lighthouse. It didn't belong to anyone in town. Whose boat was it? Harris asked. The fisherman shrugged. I don't know. It left before I could see it clearly. New word. Suspicious, making you feel that something is wrong or dishonest. That one detail made Samuel's disappearance seem far more suspicious. Weeks passed, but the case remained unsolved. Most people believed Samuel had fallen into the sea during the storm. Then something unexpected happened. Samuel's niece, Eleanor, arrived on the island carrying a letter from her uncle. The letter had been written just one day before he disappeared. It said, Eleanor, if anything happens to me, do not trust the harbour master. Look beneath the 3rd stair inside the lighthouse. Trust no one else with this information. Eleanor immediately showed the letter to Deputy Harris. New word. Harbour master. A person who manages boats and activities in a harbour. Harris frowned. Are you certain this is Samuel's handwriting? Eleanor nodded. I am. The 2 of them returned to the lighthouse and searched beneath the 3rd stair. At first, they found nothing. But when Harris pressed against one of the wooden boards, a hidden compartment slowly opened. Inside were several old documents, a small leather notebook, and a rusty key. As Harris read through the notebook, a disturbing pattern began to appear. Samuel had written about strange shipments arriving late at night. Boxes were being loaded onto boats that did not belong to any local fishermen. One page read, I have seen the harbour master meeting these boats 3 times this month. He tells the town nothing. I fear he is hiding something dangerous. New word, shipment, a load of goods sent from one place to another. Deputy Harris immediately confronted the harbour master, Nathaniel Gray. At first, Gray denied everything. I know nothing about hidden shipments. But when Harris placed Samuel's notebook on the table, Gray's face turned pale. Finally, he confessed. For more than a year, he had secretly helped smugglers move stolen goods through the harbour at night. In return, he received money to keep quiet. New word. Smuggler. Someone who moves goods illegally without following the law. Gray lowered his head. Samuel discovered my secret. He confronted me the night before the storm and said he would report everything to the authorities. Harris leaned forward. What happened next? Gray's hands began to shake. I didn't hurt him. I swear. But the smugglers were listening. They heard everything. According to Gray, the smugglers kidnapped Samuel that very night. They forced him onto their boat and sailed toward a hidden cove on a nearby island. They planned to keep him there until they decided what to do, but before they reached the island, the storm struck. Powerful waves smashed against the boat. Later, the wreckage was found on the rocks. 2 smugglers were arrested after swimming ashore, but Samuel was nowhere to be found. Eleanor looked at Gray with tears in her eyes. "Then what happened to my uncle?" Gray quietly replied, "I truly don't know. Perhaps the sea took him, or perhaps he escaped during the storm. No one has ever known the truth." New word, Cove, a small sheltered bay along a coastline. The mystery remained unsolved for 30 years. Nathaniel Gray was sent to prison for his crimes, but he never learned what truly happened to Samuel Cole. Then, 3 decades later, something remarkable happened. A retired fisherman living on a distant island bought an old sea chest at an auction. Hidden inside were several journal pages. The handwriting matched Samuel Cole's. The final entry read, "I survived the wreck. I swam for hours until I reached this island. I chose to stay here, far away from those who wanted to harm me. Eleanor, if you ever read these words, know that I am safe." The truth was worth more than the life I left behind. Samuel Cole had survived. He had simply chosen never to return. New word, entry. A single written record in a journal or notebook. Eleanor, now an elderly woman herself, finally received the answer she had waited for her entire life. Samuel Cole was never a victim of tragedy. He was a man of quiet courage who protected the truth, even when it cost him everything. The lighthouse at Raven Point still stands today. Some say that on stormy nights, its light burns a little brighter, as if Samuel himself is still watching over the sea he once protected. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this mystery story, don't forget to subscribe to Mystery English Lessons for more stories that help you improve your English while keeping you entertained. See you in the next episode.